What's up, YouTube? As always, your favorite YouTube sports podcast. This is the Heated Waves podcast, bringing you some NFL. Obviously, we had a pretty crazy wild card weekend. Today, we're going to bring in you the bracket, give you a little update on that. But before we jump into all that wild card stuff and start the brackets off, let's do some introductions, get some standings out of the way. Of course, as always, I'm T-Ball.
And I'm Mr. Bradley. Those standings, by the way, are from Week 17, who was a regular season champ of picking games from Week 1 to 17. And then now, obviously, we have the playoffs going on, so those standings as well. And if you weren't tuned in before this last video of us picking the brackets, you should have been.
They should have been.
You would know the standings, but let me just go over them real quick. Back-to-back two-Peter over here.
Right,
yeah, I said two-Peter. No pun intended, but T-Ball over here. Back-to-back champ with picking regular season games last year. So after Week 17, T-Ball obviously beat me by 9 games, 169 and 85 record of picking regular season games. I was 160 and 94. Moving on to the first round picks of that bracket that you had going on.
6 games, 3 in the AFC, 3 in the NFC.
Yep, and those number 1 seeds waiting on for the winners of those. But you went 4-2, and I was 2-4.
2-4. Oh, the AFC got wrecked, huh?
Yeah, you'll just have to stay tuned to my video and my bracket on that side of what happened, and stay tuned to that. But, T-Ball, let's start off on the AFC side and see what happened with your bracket and your predictions moving forward, if they're going to change or not.
Yeah, pretty good all around for me. Starting on the AFC side, first game we had the number 2 Bills going against the number 7 Colts. Unfortunately, old man Rivers was
watch
unable.
Your mouth. Watch your mouth.
I mean, he's getting long in the tooth. He had a great game, but unfortunately, he was not able to move on. The Bills end up taking that one. Ravens with the upset, like I said, against the number 4 Tennessee Titans at that number 5 seed. The Ravens took a playbook or a page right out of Green Bay's playbook, stopped the run, forced Tannehill to throw the ball. Unfortunately, he was not able to do enough to beat the Ravens. The Ravens move on, which has changed up my bracket a little, as you can see here. Unfortunately, I have the Ravens now taking on the Bills.
Yeah, it was the Steelers.
Chiefs, and it was the Steelers taking on the Bills, and the Chiefs at the number 1 seed going against the Ravens. But because the Steelers lost to the Browns in a horrific upset that neither you or I saw.
No, I said there was absolutely no way they're going to win this ball game.
Both said that.
And someone even got me on the comments on that. So shout out to you for bringing me out on busting me out on that one.
Congratulations, Browns.
Wow.
You move on. Unfortunately, you are now, instead of the Ravens in my bracket, taking on the Chiefs. The Browns at the number 6 seed are going against the number 1 team in the AFC, that is the Chiefs, which moves the Ravens, instead of taking on the Chiefs as in my bracket, to the Ravens taking on the Bills,
which should be a phenomenal game as well.
Now
keep in mind, guys, this is just the quick predictions. You'll have to stay tuned to actual preview prediction games for the division round coming up. When we make our picks, we'll get into a little more depth and detail of why we made these picks, if this is your first time tuning in to the brackets. So go ahead, T-Ball.
That is correct. So divisional, I have Chiefs taking on Browns and the Ravens taking on the Bills. I kept my bracket the same.
I was about to ask you.
Chiefs move on to the AFC Championship. Bills, I think, stomp a mud hole in the Ravens.
I don't know about that. That's a good
move on to the AFC Championship as well.
Defense.
Chiefs taking on the Bills for the AFC Championship. Again, Chiefs move on to the Super Bowl. I said it at the beginning of the year. Chiefs will go all the way. I'm going to stick with that. Moving over to the NFC side. First game, number 3,
did pretty
Seahawks.
well over there.
Rams, number 6. I did do well in the NFC as well. I had the Rams moving on to take the number 1 seed Green Bay Packers.
And that's happening.
Saints beating the Bears, of course, number 2 versus a number 7. And then I had an upset where the Washington football team would beat the Buccaneers. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
It should have, even with that backup. Four-string Heineke come in there, and he could have got that game. It was crazy.
By a possession and a half.
If that, just a possession.
If they would have had Alex Smith, which coming into it, I thought they did, but I guess at the last moment, I didn't read right or something happened. Unfortunately, Alex Smith did not get that start. No. I feel like if Alex Smith did, the Washington football team would be moving on. So unfortunately,
it's one of those what ifs.
Instead, if you look at my bracket now, I have the Packers taking on the Rams,
which is happening.
Instead of Saints taking on Washington, it is now Saints versus Bucks. Saints beat them twice. They're going to do it a third time. Saints move on. As you can see in my NFC Championship, Packers versus
change.
Saints. Packers move on as well. Does not change. Chiefs against Packers, Super Bowl time. So not a lot of change here. Just a couple wrong picks. 4-2's not bad.
No, one on each side, and one of them shouldn't even have happened with the Steelers and Browns. I don't care what anybody says. It should have never even happened. Steelers should have moved on. I don't know what happened in that game, but hey, that's where we're at.
Yeah, so did pretty well. 4-2's not too shabby. You'll have to stay tuned to those picks to see exactly why I chose these next coming up, why my bracket stayed the same. Might see a little different look over here at Mr. Bradley's, but keep it locked for that next one. That is my bracket, the updated version. Keep it locked, guys. Here's for Mr. Bradley's. I'm your boy T-Ball.
And I'm Mr. Bradley. You stay classy, YouTube.
And as always, thanks for stopping by.